Hello there. Once again, it is time to take another revealing peek back into history.
What famous date shall I set it to today?
Once again, it's time for Throwback Thursday, a second chance to look at some truly awful podcasts. No, wait, a second chance to see how far Vicis Interimo has come over the last 8 years. New episodes will be released pretty much weekly, but Thursdays I've reserved for throwbacks to see how far we've come. A lot of the information on here no longer applies, whether that be businesses or links that may not work anymore, so be advised of that. But again, I want to thank the patrons that we have at this time, though they may not have been here the first time these episodes were recorded. I am thanking them again because they're helping us move forward with our new episodes. And those are patrons such as At Lonely Bob, Big Al V, and Goldafish. In the meantime, I hope that you enjoy what you hear.
Okay. All right. Do we know why this is called the Devil's Backbone?
I don't know. And that's a mighty small Necronomicon there.
Wow. Is that like for Barbies?
It's a bite-sized Necronomicon. I don't know. Gray just posted that.
Wow.
I hope that's not his hand holding it.
I hope not.
Are we good to go?
I don't know. I need to look up one more thing. Are you still taping?
I'm still taping. If you've got 30 minutes to kill, let us help. Vicis Interimo. Horror movie reviews and more. Check us out. That's VicisInterimo.podomatic.com. Welcome to Vicis Interimo, Time to Kill. I'm your host, Michael Mad Saxon Jones, with my lovely wife, Lori. Hi, Lori.
Hi.
We're going to do episode 93, and it's about the Devil's Backbone.
Are you sure it's 93?
I am.
All right.
I hope. Now maybe second guess myself, and I'm going to have to go look. Anyhow.
Well, we had episode 92 2 weeks in a row, so I was just making sure we weren't doing episode 92 again.
No. We're moving on past that now.
Cool.
All right. I don't think we have anything really for laid to rest, and I'm not sure what we're going to have in, garbage out, so this might be a kind of a brief podcast.
Wow.
Yeah.
We didn't watch anything for garbage in, garbage out?
You know what? Between your midterms and my senior finals and my poster session, there really hasn't been a whole lot of time for TV this last week.
I guess you're right.
Yeah.
You know what we've been watching, though, is Alice in Wonderland.
In bits and pieces, that's true.
Yes.
Okay.
Of course, the newest one with Johnny Depp.
Right.
I love that movie.
You do?
I do.
You must. It's replaced SpongeBob before we go to bed, hasn't it?
It's a lot of fun. Yes. We've been watching it in like 15-minute bits. But, yeah, it's a perfect thing to lay in bed and watch before you go to sleep.
Okay. Give you nice, pleasant dreams?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I guess that was our garbage in, garbage out segment then.
Yeah, I was going to say we haven't watched any more, I'm going to get the title wrong. Person of Interest.
Hey, you've got it right this time.
Yes, I did it. We haven't watched the newest episode of that yet, so we can't talk about that.
Nope.
Since we discussed it a couple weeks ago, I never really got back to it to say if it's improved or gotten worse.
Well, we had Al's comments on it, and like I said, I think I'm going to go ahead and stick out the season with it. So. Okay.
And we watched another Terra Nova.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we liked it okay.
It's okay. I'm not sure. It may lose me if it doesn't pick up a little bit. I'm not sure.
Okay. See, that's interesting.
I'll give it the whole first season too.
Okay.
Probably, unless it gets really bad, but, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. What, you said that's
No,
interesting.
I thought it was interesting because you're hoping it'll pick up, and for me, I actually wanted a little more development and stuff before they jumped into the rebellion and the Sixers and all this stuff that's going on. They dove right into that from the very beginning. And to me, it was a little premature to introduce all this heavy, like all this stuff that's going on. But apparently not. Well,
for me, I guess when I said pick up, that doesn't necessarily mean I need action-packed chases and things or dinosaurs, nibbling on.
More dinosaurs. That's what it needs. It needs more dinosaurs.
Okay.
Less rebellion, more dinosaurs.
Okay. Well, we'll see where that goes.
Dinosaur me. Yeah, I like that whole. I just like that whole aspect of it. But.
Okay.
Yeah, that rebellion thing and all this and that. Maybe it'll work itself out.
Well, that's what I mean by pick up.
I'm gonna keep watching it. I like the hero of the story. I like the dad.
Really?
Yeah, he has his issue. Like his family annoys me.
Mm-hmm.
But and that is an issue that I have with him. He has an annoying family. No, I mean they're okay. I don't know, but I really like him though. So
I'm not sure how I feel about him, and I think that's part of the problem for me.
Yeah.
So
you know what? He's nice to look at, partly too, and that helps. Not
really?
like the guy in Person of Interest. Sorry.
Well, we've got that backwards, but okay. So moving on.
Not that looks have anything to do with anything.
Okay.
Not for me, because you know the kind of people I like.
Hey, wait a minute. You just insulted me. What are you talking about? You've lost complete control of this episode.
I'm not talking about you.
Okay, whatever.
You're the best looking guy I know.
Oh, you don't know a lot of people, I guess. Moving on, unless there was something else you can think of that
you better stop.
Yeah, better stop and move on to the Devil's Backbone. So.
Okay, you sure you don't have any laid to rest?
I got nothing.
I guess I could just say again how lame last week's movie was. That's it.
Okay.
Oh, I would like to mention something. A few weeks back, we were talking about some Harry Potter fan fiction that a friend of ours that we know online wrote. Hi, CJ. Anyway, she's an awesome writer, and we promoted her story, Rise of the Phoenix, a couple weeks in a row. And I actually had people ask me, okay, so is this really good and worth reading, or... And it was like, what? Like, how could people even ask me that? I'm not going to talk about something if it sucks, even if it's from a friend of mine. I guess people felt like since I referred to her as my friend, people were like, okay, well, it's probably just okay, right? And you're just promoting it for a friend. But no, totally not. Okay. Totally not. The creative friends that I have who know me and who've asked for my opinion on their short movies and stories, if the things have issues and if they're just not good, I could be pretty honest. So I just wanted to mention that her stories really are awesome. Okay. And yeah, I don't just say that. I don't just say that because, she's someone I know and love. So yeah.
Gotcha. Good point.
And I'm going to post the link again to him. So she just finished another chapter. So I'm not sure how many more chapters she's going for. I'm not sure CJ knows herself. Do you, CJ? But anyway, she just finished chapter 18. So we'll post the link to the whole story, and it's definitely worth a read if you're a Harry Potter fan.
Absolutely. And I was going to say I was talking to somebody else about it over the weekend. I was able to attend a friend's birthday party. I did actually take time away from studying long enough to do that, and was sharing that with some friends and explaining that, yeah, it's actually, unlike most fan fiction, this is actually worth reading, which I just insulted everybody else who does fan fiction.
You just insulted the entire fan fiction community. But yeah,
that wasn't my intention, but... if you're not a fan fiction reader up to this point, you know what I mean, I think. Right. Yeah, so, okay.
Yeah, so, well, sometimes I think it has I don't want to say a negative connotation, but I guess you could call it that. Because I think, there's a lot of kids out there writing stories with their favorite characters, and they just write these crazy off-the-wall, kooky things that you're like, that would never happen, but okay. But CJ's work is just, I feel like it's seamless with all of the books. So, I mean, she's an awesome writer. She knows the characters well. She puts them in situations that could totally happen. It's just really consistent and really enjoyable. Okay. And it takes place right after the last book. So if you read the whole entire Harry Potter series and you were left wanting more after Deathly Hallows, there's more. There's more. So we'll post the link and people can check it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get on with The Devil's Backbone. You can hear our show, Vicis Interimo, on Stitcher Smart Radio. Stitcher allows you to listen to your favorite shows directly from your iPhone, Android phone, BlackBerry, or Palm phones, on demand and on the go. If you don't have Stitcher, you can download it for free at Stitcher.com or in the App Store. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to the radio. Okay, so tell me what The Devil's Backbone is about.
Well, let's see here. I have the synopsis in front of me. This movie was from 2001. Somehow I missed it when it came out, but it's rated R, 108 minutes. And let's see here. 12-year-old Carlos is the latest arrival at Santa Lucia School, an imposing stone building that shelters orphans of the Republican militia and politicians during the last days of the Spanish Civil War. Carlos gradually uncovers the dark ties that bind the inhabitants of the school, hidden riches, sexual intrigue, and the restless ghost of a murdered student who may be the only one to provide resolution. That's actually a pretty darn good synopsis.
That was a pretty good synopsis. Yeah, I'm impressed.
It got it all in there.
Okay, and without giving too much up or revealing anything.
Mm-hmm. This is by director Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah. What did you think of it?
I really enjoyed it a lot.
I really enjoyed it too, right from the first scene. Without going into too much detail and stuff, I know what it's like to be dropped off at a very young age with somebody and told by them, okay, this is where you're going to live now. And so when that scene happened in the movie, like, that hooked me in. I'm not saying everybody's going to connect with it from that point, forward, but for me, it really worked, and so it just got better from there. Yeah. My only complaint, and I hesitate to even call it a complaint.
Oh, no. I was going to say, how could you have a complaint?
I would say that it possibly could be trimmed up just a little bit, shortened a little bit for a wider audience. I don't know. Did it feel...
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, then. Well, tell me what your general opinions of it were.
First of all, you jumped right into the story a little bit, but let's say this is in Spanish, and it's subtitled. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely as we call it here in America, a foreign film.
Right.
It's not foreign to other people. But anyway, you have to enjoy foreign film and experience it with the subtitles. So a lot of people right there, that's eliminated a giant group of people who wouldn't want to watch it.
That's true.
Also, it is under the genre of horror movies, but it's also under the genre of thrillers.
Yeah.
Spanish movies, supernatural horror, supernatural thriller. Supernatural thriller is the one I would absolutely label it. I wouldn't go so far as to call it horror in the classic sense that we say, a horror movie. If you're looking for a horror movie, this probably isn't it.
Okay.
But it's absolutely a supernatural thriller. There's a ghost in it, and he looks awesome, and he's scary.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that later, but...
Okay, well, that's all I'm saying about it right now.
Okay.
So that it absolutely has that horror element, but there's so many other things going on. And like you said, I mean, it hooked me from the first scene as well. It's the school out in the middle of the desert. It's dry. It's arid. It's horrible. It's dirt. There's no food. There's, the principal, a doctor, a couple of teachers, a groundskeeper, and then a bunch of little boys. And yeah, it's pretty dire. It's a pretty dire situation. So that's the setting.
Yeah, it definitely, it does have the feel, I should have looked this up ahead of time, but I don't even want to say the name. What was the other movie that he did?
Pan's Labyrinth.
Yes, that was it.
Okay.
And do you know what year that came out?
Pan's Labyrinth?
Uh-huh. I'm sure it was after this, right?
I will look it up really quick while you're still talking.
Well, I wasn't talking because I was looking up myself, but yeah, go ahead.
I'm faster than you, though. See, I'm halfway there already.
Okay, I was just going to say it does have a similar feel. You and I were talking a little bit about it this morning, though we didn't discuss the movie too much, but interesting how Del Toro sets the movies up in wartime.
Yes.
Or around that time. And I'm sure it's probably out there. I guess I'm not that big of a fan that I've tracked down everything that he's said in every interview that he's given, but perhaps there's a reason that, he's heavily influenced by that. So I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, and it absolutely captures sort of a similar feel in some parts.
Yeah.
Pan's Labyrinth was from 2006.
Okay, so yeah, a little bit later then.
Yep, 5 years after this one came out.
Okay. I really enjoyed it. Visually, I thought the movie was great. Like I said, I could see it being trimmed just a little bit, just scenes shaved down. I don't think there were any scenes that needed to be eliminated.
Interesting.
But that's just because I was so into the story that I guess I just wanted to hurry up, and not because I wasn't enjoying it, but I wanted to hurry up and get to what was going on and everything else. But again, this is a minor complaint. This is like if I had to pick something, I would say you could have shaved maybe 10 or 15 minutes off of it, just pulling out 15 or 20 second segments here or there in a couple of scenes. And just maybe shaved it up and trimmed it up a little bit. But
no, I still don't think so.
Okay.
Because I became aware while I was watching it, probably about 3/4 of the way through, I was thinking, I have no idea how long this movie is. I have no idea how long we've been watching it, and I have no idea how long it has to go. But it was just, I was enjoying every moment so much, and I was just following the story and just kind of living it with them. I wasn't like, hurry up, let's get to what's going on, or it was like every moment to me in that movie had purpose and meaning and led to the next moment. So I couldn't imagine cutting anything out of it.
Well, okay. Well, that's good.
I mean, I didn't take any notes. There was also subtitles, so you can't keep looking down.
Right.
You might miss something. But, and there wasn't tons and tons and tons of dialogue where there's some movies where you're reading the whole entire thing and you have to watch it twice because then you have to watch it once to get the visuals.
Right.
This one wasn't so bad like that.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it was just perfect how it was.
Okay. I have a new element to add to our list of horror. Well, I don't want to say horror cliches because cliche has a bad connotation or it would seem like it. But I'm now going to be aware of hanging scissors because up until now we were always commenting, it's always bad if you see hanging chains and it's really bad if you see hanging chains with hooks.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to be intimidated by hanging scissors. Not that even came up in the movie per se. They were hanging there at the early scenes, and I was very aware of them. So,
okay,
hanging scissors is another thing to watch for. I don't know.
Yes.
Well, I know he always. I believe it was in Hellboy that Del Toro said that he was a fan. I think of Naked Lunch, and that's why there's almost always in his movies you'll find a room full of typewriters.
Yes.
So if
that's funny.
I'll be looking for hanging scissors in movies from now on. So.
You still haven't seen Naked Lunch, have you?
No, I have not.
Okay. We'll have to check it out sometime.
All right.
I've seen it.
Okay.
Yeah. That was a recommend from my friend Bruce.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the other things that this movie has that I enjoyed was the movie in parts being told or focusing on children. And that's always makes for an interesting conflict, I think, if they're children put into arguably adult situations.
Yes.
Where I've mentioned this before, I think, but I'll mention again for new listeners. One of my favorite Stephen King stories is Grandma. And it takes place with, I believe, a 7-year-old boy who's left alone with his ailing grandmother for the first time, and it just kind of occurs to him that he's never actually been alone in the house with her before, and kind of creepiness ensues from there. It was actually done as a Twilight Zone directed by Harlan Ellison, I think. But anyhow, my point is that that makes for a great tension-building thing. There were a lot of kids. It wasn't an individual kid in this case, but the fact that the kids are left to fend for themselves in this bleak environment kind of added to the tension.
Yes.
Another one that, another Stephen King story that I enjoyed is The Sundog. And it's another one where a young boy finds himself in a supernatural predicament, dealing with a situation that he can't really share with his elders or his peers because he doesn't have any peers. And anyhow, so those are a couple of recommendations for other things to look into if this sounds at all interesting. Not that they're even the same kind of story, but just, I don't know, if you like that idea. I don't know.
I feel like children in supernatural situations having to deal with grown-up problems and stuff.
Yeah, there you
Dealing with, okay.
Okay.
And we kind of touched on the synopsis here in the beginning, but basically this boy Carlos is left at this orphanage, and he has to, learn to get along with these boys. Of course, there's, a couple tough boys that are kind of bullies, and, the adults that are there are a little off, but it's wartime and they're upset and they know what's going on. So there wasn't much security, which made it very unsettling.
Right.
I really liked this main boy, Carlos. He was, he was brave and he just stuck it out. He wasn't a victim.
Right.
You get to know the bullies a little bit and what's going on, and you start to understand why each boy's personality is the way it is, and you just kind of start to feel for all of them. The bully ends up, being okay.
Right.
And I enjoyed that, all the relationships between all the boys. And what did you think of the relationships between the adults?
Wow, that was interesting also.
Yes,
like you said, I waited to see where things were going to go and what was going to happen. Again, with it being a foreign film, and I'm using the term loosely here, but with it being a foreign film, I liked it because the story wasn't necessarily predictable. There were a few things that I saw coming, and anybody I think watching it are going to have a feel for what's there, but it's still. The story didn't necessarily introduce anything totally fresh and amazing, but it didn't matter. Does that make sense?
I think it was, there was some predictable kind of cliche stories going on in there.
But it was done so well.
Yeah, I was going to say that many of them together and done in the way it was done, to me, it was very fresh because there was only... Well, there was 4 main adult characters, and, man, you just felt bad for all of them.
Right.
The groundskeeper, Jacinto, he becomes a very important character, and he's not likable right off the bat. Something's wrong. And I don't want to give too much away, because it is one of these stories where you don't really know what happened, and you are waiting to see... it starts out right in the very beginning with a dead boy being sunk into some water. So I'm like, who's trying, this boy died, someone's trying to hide it. You don't really know what happened. There's a couple suspects. So it was interesting working through the story to see, to have it revealed.
Right. And the other thing that I thought was interesting, I don't mean to cut you off there.
That's okay.
But the other thing that I thought was interesting is there's a sense of claustrophobia isn't quite the right word, but sense of tension that's built by the fact that there's an unexploded bomb right in the middle of this orphanage kind of looming over everything. And I know they say early on in the movie that it's been disarmed and it's okay, but it was just too big to be moved. But still in the back of your mind, there's this bomb just lurking there.
Yes, that was very unusual.
And it just
added a
to
new
it.
dimension.
Yeah.
Because while it didn't, it sort of played into the story, but it sort of didn't play into the story. You weren't sure whether or not it was going to suddenly go off so yeah, it kind of added this whole, just gave you this feeling through the whole thing, like what is up with this like giant missile sticking out of the ground in the middle of the courtyard.
Yeah.
Okay, the military came by and, shut it off, but, it makes noise sometimes and stuff. So yeah, all of that was very interesting. There was a lot of just really interesting things in here.
Yeah, so it was fun. Fun's not the right word.
I wouldn't use the word fun.
It was entertaining? Is that the right word? Okay.
It was, you know what? Whereas last week's movie, when I summed it all up in a nutshell, and I said the only thing I could really say about it was that it was not engaging. Mm-hmm. This one was absolutely engaging. This one, opposite of last week's movie.
Okay, and engaging on different levels, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very complex, very good, yeah.
And I love the split, again, between the boys and their relationships and what's going on with them and the politics between them all living in the orphanage. There's always a pecking order, but you kind of learn, all the boys really do get along. Mm-hmm. It's not one of those, I thought, oh man, this little boy's stuck here with these little jerks and he's going to be, beat on and picked on. But they worked it out pretty quick, and they were all friendly with each other. There was a sense of camaraderie that I really enjoyed. And then, on the other hand, there were the adults that were really trying to pull together and get through this thing. But they had so many issues. Right. Relationship issues. Each one of them had a major problem, and they either knew they had the problem or they weren't aware they had a problem yet.
That's true.
So there was a lot of things. There was a lot of things going on.
Yeah. So if anybody hasn't seen this and it sounds at all interesting, it's definitely a recommend. What would you give it for a rating?
I would rate it pretty high, actually.
Yeah, I'd give it a solid 8.5 maybe. Really? Yeah.
I couldn't really find anything that I did not like about it at all.
Really? Okay.
I don't like to give 10s because that is so perfect, but it's pretty darn close. Okay. I can't find anything wrong with it. And what did you think of the special effects of the?
Special effects were great, and yes. I almost would wanted to. It didn't fit, but I would say I wanted to see more of them just because it was so awesome. But it didn't fit in the story. It was appropriate for what was in there. Sometimes less is more. I was just talking the other day with somebody about Jaws, and they were talking about the mechanical shark breaking down and stuff, and it worked out that was really for the betterment of the movie, I think,
It's a good thing.
Yeah, and so with this one, you didn't see, nonstop special effects or whatever, but when you did see them, they were really impressive. And good.
It did fit with the story because, the adults they heard the boys talking, and a couple times the adults said, they talk about ghosts being here, and they were just like, but they kind of brushed it off. They had bigger things to worry about.
Right.
But all of the boys, they've heard it. They called the ghost the one who sighs.
The one who sighs, right.
Because they all hear it. But the only one who actually sees it is just this little boy, Carlos.
Right.
So the ghost isn't in it constantly. It's just a few moments when Carlos is alone. Mm-hmm. And the ghost is trying to communicate something to him. But, yeah, I thought the way that they made the little boy's ghost look, he was awesome looking.
I've included a little an image in the show notes, or in the image for this week.
Too bad it doesn't move. Because what was cool about it was because he died from a head injury, and that's not giving anything away because that's the opening scene.
Right.
He dies of a head injury, and then he's submerged in water. so as his ghost is walking around, it actually looks like it's underwater.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of see this little bit of sediment or something kind of floating around his image.
Mm-hmm.
And then the blood is coming from the back of the head, the way blood looks in the water.
Right.
Like kind of this cloud just sort of floating out and upward. Like it was a disturbing image.
Yeah, definitely.
They did a great job on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great movie. I really liked it.
So what was your number? 9.5?
9.8. 9.9. No,
wow.
I don't know. Somewhere between a 9 and a 10. There's nothing that I did not like about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Except for having to read the subtitles, but that really doesn't bother me.
Right.
Because if it was dubbed in English, it would be lame.
It would have been distracting and, yeah.
That's even worse.
Yeah.
So I had no problems with the subtitles. It was great. I loved it.
And I was going to say, if you have a little bit of Spanish, you could even follow what they're saying a little bit, you know. I don't have much Spanish, but a little bit, so I wasn't that distracted by the subtitles.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So.
But even so, you would have liked to see it be shorter.
That's my only thing. It's like if I had to say something about it, I would say it could have been trimmed up just a little bit, maybe for a wider audience or whatever. I'm not saying that I minded it so much.
No, for a wider audience, I think you either like this sort of thing or you don't. Trimming 20 seconds off each scene isn't going to do anything.
Okay.
You're either going to like it or you're not.
Okay.
I think.
All right.
It could have been another hour longer, actually, and I would have followed it. I'd have just sat there and, stared at it like I'd been doing for 108 minutes.
You wouldn't have stuck your head in an oven by then?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it was kind of a tough story, but, wartime and bleak, but yeah.
But it all fit.
There's always hope. I was hoping,
Yeah.
like there's got to be something here.
Yeah.
You want to see the people who deserve it get what they deserve, and you want to see resolution. This little boy who was, who died and was sunk in the water, you always want to see their spirit, resolve whatever their issue is. And so, yeah, I was just waiting for the...
Waiting for the closure.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And it came, so,
All right. Well, I think that's our review for this week then.
That's it.
And since we already did garbage in, garbage out at the beginning and we didn't have a lay to rest, I think that's the show.
Oh, you don't want to crawl in chaos?
You've got something for us. Let's hear it.
I just have a short one.
Okay, go.
What do you think of incorrupt corpses?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you know what I'm referring to?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Would you like the definition of
yes, could you,
incorruptible corpse?
Could you clarify that?
Incorruptibility is the absence of decay in dead human bodies or body parts for weeks, months, even years, sometimes centuries. Most remarkably in bodies buried without being embalmed and in graves in which rapid deterioration would be expected. Now, do you know what I'm talking about?
I think you're talking about the undead.
No.
That's what it sounds like.
No.
Okay.
A dead body.
No, I mean, I got you.
Not decay.
I got you. But
zombies decay. The undead, they decay. Things fall off. They keep moving. This is sort of the opposite.
Okay.
It's like a nice, fresh, dead person that's not going to move because they're dead.
Okay.
Well, believers say that incorrupt corpses are signs from God of the holiness of the deceased person and are also a call to holiness for the faithful.
Okay.
Skeptics would say that incorruptibility is a combination of many mundane biological and geological factors, none of which are divine. The temperature, amount of oxygen, absence or presence of bacteria, fungus, all play a role in how long it will take for a body to decay. Plus, it could be possible that the Catholic Church secretly embalmed many, quote, incorruptibles to foster a widespread acceptance of their divinity. They wouldn't do that.
No, I couldn't imagine that. There's no secret societies or
people
with agendas.
But anyway, so what do you think?
That's interesting. It's something I'll look more into now.
Because scientifically, it says the quality of existing evidence is fair, and the likelihood that the phenomenon is authentic is fair also.
Okay.
Because even though, things do rot and break down and decompose, sometimes it happens at such a slow rate. But I was reading a little bit about Saint Bernadette, whom I knew about. Ever since I was a child, I used to watch on Easter. There's an old black and white movie, and I think it's called The Song of Bernadette. I should have looked that one up before I started talking about it.
Yes.
I'm going to type it in really quick here and see.
Okay.
I think that's what it is called.
Well, I was going to say...
Yes, The Song of Bernadette. I found it already.
Okay.
Which was a movie from 1943. Wow, okay. An actress, Jennifer Jones.
Mm-hmm.
So she shines in her Best Actress Oscar-winning role about the French peasant girl who sees a miraculous vision of the Virgin Mary in Lourdes in 1858. I didn't know she won an Oscar for Best Actress for playing Saint Bernadette in The Song of Bernadette. Anyway, I grew up seeing that movie, and I had always heard that her body was still around, and that she was completely, I don't want to say preserved because that sounds like they did something to it, but
right.
She's an incorruptible. She is not decaying. So she's on display actually in, let's see, it's in France in a chapel. Oh, at a convent. Okay, I'm trying to find it here on the page in front of me. But anyway, so her body is still there and it's on display, and you can go see her. They exhumed her body 3 different times. They kept pulling her out to check on her, and she still was not really decomposing that much. So they ended up covering her with a very thin layer of wax just to keep her skin nice, I guess. But you can see her. She's there. People pilgrimage there to have a look. And she was actually, in 1925, she was canonized and made a saint.
Wow.
Yeah. And to be canonized, that's somebody who has already passed. If they're made a saint after they've already passed, they're canonized. So, and they always say in order to be a saint, you have to have performed a miracle. Well, that's her miracle.
That's her miracle still being there.
Yes. Yeah.
That's interesting. I would think that there would be problems, and I would have said that scientists would have made more of a study of it, but maybe...
Well, the thing is, I've done a lot of reading on Saint Bernadette, and there were some issues with her body. She's not as, beautiful and perfect as she was when she was 34 years old when she died. I believe she was 34, 35 years old. There was a few issues, the eyes sinking in a little bit, and the lips coming away from the teeth a little bit to expose the teeth. Things were shrinking a little bit,
right?
But not anywhere near what it should have been like.
Well,
so
I was going to say there's fluid in there. If nothing else, the fluid is going to go somewhere.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe it's very interesting from a biological standpoint and a nature. Whatever was going on where her body was kept, maybe the conditions were just perfect, and all of these things that listed here, the climate, the different bacteria, fungi, who knows?
Indeed.
It's interesting. I find it really interesting.
Okay.
You always think you always think dead people are going to look like One-Eye Willie. You're going to find them and they're just going to be a skeleton.
Right.
Maybe with 2 eye sockets, though. So I've always found it really interesting, so.
Okay.
Just thought I'd bring it up and see what you thought about it.
That's interesting. It's something I did not know about.
Yeah. And I thought I'd mention Saint Bernadette.
Okay.
Just because she's someone I grew up with.
All right.
Not that I'm Catholic.
Gotcha.
Yes. It's a good movie, by the way, The Song of Bernadette.
Okay.
They used to show it every Easter. So, there you go.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I think that's the show.
Okay.
Okay. So,
wrap it up.
Thanks for listening. You can find us at lapodcasters.com. You can find us on Facebook. Go to a VI.
Sorry. You said Facebook funny.
Okay. You can find us on Facebook. Just punch in VICIS INTERIMO. Or you can friend me, S. Michael Jones, on there.
They could friend me too.
What's your name?
Well, if they find us Michael Jones, I'm the broad you're married to.
Okay. All right. And on that note, we will get these episodes back into some kind of semblance of order later on here. But thanks for listening. And this is going to be our Halloween show, isn't it? Next.
No, we've got one more week.
We have one more week. I'm so confused.
You're
All
so
right,
confused.
sweet. We'll have to do something special for our anniversary.
Yes.
Our anniversary and our Halloween show. So no SpongeBob this year, though.
Oh, darn it.
All right. So thanks for listening, and that's it.
All right.
So many social engagements. So little time.
Okay, so we forgot to talk about an important element of the movie.
What element is that?
What the heck is a devil's backbone?
I don't know.
You don't know? Do you have any? You want to say what it was in the movie?
Well, they showed the fetuses floating there in the jar where seemed that their spines were exposed.
Okay, that's leaving out a little bit because I'm wondering why there'd be fetuses floating in jars. So we were in the doctor's office.
Right.
Because there's a doctor lives there. He's lived there for how long? Did he say 25 years or something?
Something like that, yeah.
So yeah, it was in his research area, whatever, and he had a few fetuses in big glass clear jars. Mm-hmm. I was a little disturbed as to what was going on with them because they were pickled in rum and spices, and he was actually selling the rum for medicinal stuff in town.
Yeah, that would be a little disturbing.
So that was a little strange. But, he said there was a lot of superstitions and things going on in town. And that these babies who were born, or they actually weren't born, he didn't explain that, but they were obviously not totally developed, so they were either miscarried or whatever. Like you said, their spines were actually exposed through the skin. There wasn't skin covering the spine, so that was a little bit of a disturbing image. But he explained that the superstitious, townspeople called that the devil's backbone, and it was the mark of a child that was not meant to be.
Right.
So I thought of, the title of the movie was taken from that, the devil's backbone. I took that to be analogous with superstition, or, the obvious symbolism of all of these children. They weren't unwanted per se. A lot of these children had lost their parents in the war.
Right.
So they were there just because they had to be, but they weren't necessarily abandoned, unwanted children. But still, maybe symbolic of children who were not meant to be. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I didn't give it that much thought. But no, it's interesting. And yeah, like you said, now that you've said that,
because that's the title of the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
So when we just wrapped up the show and we shut everything off, I was like, we didn't say why it was named Devil's Backbone.
Well, here's the thing. I just assumed that it was a poor translation of a foreign film. A lot of times when they translate things for American release or whatever, they just kind of slap any title on it. So I wasn't giving a lot of thought to that. But
you saw the Spanish title, right?
No, I didn't.
Devil's Backbone.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yes.
Well, touche.
And he talks about in the show.
And he does talk about it during the movie.
This is what they call the devil's backbone.
Well, here's what I was bummed about. I was bummed that we had actually DVR'd this because it was on one of the movie channels that we had briefly.
Yes.
And the first thing that I said as soon as the movie ended was where's the DVD? Because I want to see the extras.
Yes, we love the extras.
Because this would have been a great movie. And it may be worth at some point us checking out because I am curious as to what went into the making of this movie. And
yes.
anything that they had. So unfortunately, we feel a little handicapped, or I feel a little handicapped because we didn't have that this time. Because I would have loved to have seen it. We enjoyed the movie that much. So
Yes.
What did you think of the trailer?
The trailer's good.
Good. Do you think it's representative of the movie? Do you think it captures the spirit of it?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. If you watch the trailer, I think you get a really good feeling for the movie, how it looks and the feeling, and
from what
absolutely.
From what I remember when I had suggested the movie or that we had it, you saw the trailer. You saw me watching the trailer, and you felt like you were going to like the movie just based off of that. Do you remember saying that?
Yes.
Yeah. So
trailers don't always. Sometimes they're spot on. Sometimes, they've tricked you. You know, it's like, wow, that looks so good. This movie's crap. So yeah, you never know.
Yeah, like last week's movie.
Oh yes.
So anyhow.
So anyway.
What else did you have to say about the Devil's Backbone?
That was it. I just wanted to talk about the title of the movie and why it was called that, because that was after I watched the trailer, before we watched the movie. And you said, we've got this movie called Devil's Backbone. Are you interested? And I watched the trailer. I'm like, why is this called Devil's Backbone? I don't get it. It didn't have anything it didn't seem satanic or where's the devil, or especially after last week's. So I didn't understand the title. Gotcha. So I feel that was something important to talk about while discussing this movie.
Okay.
And something interesting, I did a little research also online because I thought, what exactly, I was hoping to actually find out more about the Devil's Backbone related to this movie, but what I found was people talking about the movie and being more interested from a medical standpoint in the fetus that was in the jar. And a registered nurse was online having a conversation with some people that were like, what's going on with this? And she said that it looks like a fetus that suffered spina bifida. So I found that interesting. So there's a medical explanation for it, which the doctor also in the movie said there's scientific explanations for everything. These people and their silly superstitions and all that. So that's when I thought, Devil's Backbone is analogous with superstition, and of course this man finds out that ghosts do exist and there are supernatural things in the world. So yeah, I think it was just sort of symbolic of a few different things that were going on. Absolutely, the children who were not meant to be. No children were meant to be in that situation or live like that or suffer the things that they suffer by the end of the movie. It was not meant to be that way. So I just took it as just symbolic of that.
Gotcha. Okay.
And also just being a weird thing, him selling the rum and everything with that was weird. So there was, it was a couple different things.
Okay.
So it's open to interpretation.
Gotcha.
Yeah, don't you think?
I think so.
Yeah, you didn't even think about it at all, so.
I didn't. I just sat back and enjoyed it.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. Okay. So thanks for listening.
Yes.
And I guess at the end of the show, you'll hear how the show started, because we started talking about what we're going to do next week. So I'll just play that then, too.
Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye.
I didn't understand any of that.
That's okay. You don't have to.
Okay. Bye.
Upon an
know about the last exorcism?
Nothing.
You haven't heard anything about it?
No.
Ew, it's not very good reviews.
No?
Wow. Different and original, someone said at least. Wow, lots of 1- and 2-star reviews. Everyone's upset about the ending, I guess. Whoa, spoiler alert, I don't want to look at it. I just put it on our list and bumped it to the top.
Okay.
Just so we're not stuck next week going,
I doubt that we'll go,
I don't know, we might.
Okay. I might after I'm done testing.
Wait, what?
I said I might after I'm done testing, after I've finished all my senior finals and stuff.
Yeah.
By the end of the week, I might be going,
Yeah, I think I've heard you do that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.